Good morning. This is Donald Trump's worst nightmare. He is really, for the first time in his life, incapable of getting the press to follow the next shiny thing he puts in front of them. What's different this time is that the victims are coming forward, and because I've done this before, and the public cares about them. The families of Virginia Roberts, women who have not spoken out before concerning their experiences with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, are going to make it very difficult for Donald Trump to just sweep this under the rug, because his plan, as we have talked about, is to try to get Ghislaine Maxwell either in front of a camera or through a press statement to appear first like she is a victim, like she is a scapegoat. And secondly, to have Ghislaine exonerate him. Those are his two main goals, to make this go away. Now, a third sweetener, which he has now obviously developed, is trying to find a way to throw some red meat at the base so he can also, in addition to exonerating himself through ultimately the pardoning of Ghislaine Maxwell by characterizing her as a victim, is to also make people like Bill Clinton or prosecutors or whoever it is he wants to point the finger at someone other than himself. And the problem with that is it's not going to work, because until Donald Trump releases the full, unredacted, other than victims' names, until Donald Trump releases the full, unredacted Epstein files, the story won't go away. Victims are coming out of the woodwork, some anonymously and some on camera. And the biggest problem in all of this is he is not going to be able to make Ghislaine Maxwell look good. She's not trustworthy. And there is going to be a constant question about Donald Trump's connection with Jeff Epstein. I mean, we already know so much. And allegations against himself. So I want to start today. And of course, we're going to cover other news besides the Epstein story. But I, as you know, am committed to giving voice to the victims here. And so let me begin with something that is circulating now. A victim who is anonymously, her face and her voice is masked, talking about Ghislaine Maxwell. Let's play this now. I'm sorry, I can't listen to her cry. It is too hard. What's also happening in terms of victims is it's upsetting Donald Trump's team so much that, as I'm sure you have heard, there is credible reporting that there had been a meeting planned last night to take place at the Vice President J.D. Vance's residence. And in attendance at that meeting was supposed to be AG Pam Bondi, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, of course, J.D. Vance, and Kash Patel, and maybe a couple others, supposedly to talk about their strategy for dealing with this Epstein matter. Notably, who was not there or not invited? Dan Bongino. That is important because, you know, he's the deputy director of the FBI. And there are many stories reported by, again, trustworthy news organizations that Dan Bongino is in a dispute with Pam Bondi. He has seen either a huge portion. I mean, I don't know if anyone he has seen. I mean, I need 1,000 people to see everything, but he knows what's in those files. And he has been very quiet as of late. So they're not inviting him into that meeting for whatever reason. Who else is not invited? Any of the victims. If Donald Trump or people he cared about weren't implicated, then this administration would put victims front and center, demanding justice for them. Now, I want to share with you why they're so concerned about, let me finish this. The emergency meeting did not end up happening, so it is told. I want to share with you from Virginia Jeffrey's family this statement that they issued. This is a screenshot from the Twitter account of journalist Caitlin Collins from CNN. So I'm going to read you this. The family of Virginia Jeffrey issued a new statement Wednesday on the meeting planned at the vice president's residence tonight regarding the administration's strategy on Jeffrey Epstein. Quote, "We understand that Vice President J.D. Vance will hold a strategy session this evening at his residence with administration officials. Missing from this group is, of course, any survivor of the vicious crimes of convicted perjurer and sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. Their voices must be heard above all. We also call upon the House subcommittee to invite survivors to testify. As Virginia Roberts Giuffre's siblings, we offer to represent her in her stead, and we hope the administration takes our call to action seriously. Any information that may be released by the government should take into account the survivors who wish to remain anonymous. For their safety and well-being, they should be consulted first. We reiterate that Ghislaine Maxwell should have remained in a maximum security prison and does not deserve the luxuries currently afforded her." And this was signed by Sky and Amanda Roberts and Danny and Lynette Wilson. So what are they afraid of? What are they afraid of? Why aren't they talking to victims, to survivors? Here's why. I want to share another story with you. Now, what I'm sharing right now is Gloria Allred. This is a victim who came forward in 2019. I'm going to show you her first, and then I'm going to share with you someone from yesterday who came forward. And so this is why they don't want this testimony, why they don't want to hear from victims. Okay, share screen. Here we go.
Jeffrey Epstein started his targeted grooming and manipulation of me as a child when I was in New York City for a school trip. I first came into contact with an assistant of Epstein's while in a high school drama club field.
I'm sorry, you guys. I need to get the screen share proper here. Okay, let's try that again. I'm sorry, because I want you to be able to see that better. Here we go.
Jeffrey Epstein started his targeted grooming and manipulation of me as a child when I was in New York City for a school trip. I first came into contact with an assistant of Epstein's while on a high school drama club field trip to New York City. I was invited to his home. There, his assistant took a photo of me and then later reached out to me inviting me to Epstein's ranch. I only knew Jeffrey Epstein for 5 days during a trip to Zorro Ranch, his massive compound surrounded by government land in the New Mexico desert. Epstein took my sexual innocence in front of a wall of framed photographs of him shaking hands and smiling with celebrities and political leaders. I was only 15 years old. After, he wanted to talk with me about what had just been my first sexual experience and directed me to take time to myself that night to cry. He said that would be beneficial to my growth. After this, we had a long talk about my future goals. I told him that I wanted to go to college to study biochemistry. He said that he wanted to give me money for college. He asked me how much money I thought he should give me. At 15 years old, living in northern Michigan with my mother, stepfather, and grandfather, I had no idea how to respond to a billionaire who had just raped me. I was being asked to quantify in monetary terms what had been taken from me. When I agreed to $5,000, he smiled and wrote a check made out to the college I so desperately wanted to attend and was not sure my parents could afford. During my trip to New Mexico, I had flown on his jet, which I later learned had been nicknamed the Lolita Express. While he was giving me a tour of the bedroom, he told me to get down and feel the carpeted floors of the room. He then asked if I noticed anything special about the floor, and I responded that it felt very soft. He laughed and said it was because the floors in the bedroom were foam mattress floors, because he liked to have girls sleep around him on the floor while he slept in the bed.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I remember wanting to ask him why he would want that. However, I restrained myself out of fear of sounding like the child I was. Later, when I chose a seat on the jet, Jeffrey told me that is where his good friend Bill Clinton always chooses to sit, as if to reassure me of the elite normalcy of that type of behavior. After I returned to Michigan from Zorro Ranch, I was contacted by one of Jeffrey Epstein's assistants and invited to Epstein's Island, where I was told Prince Andrew, among others, would be a guest. I declined the invitation out of fear. I had only experienced a glimpse of Jeffrey Epstein's world, but it left me with residual trauma, which seriously impacted the trajectory of my life from that moment on. I know a considerable amount of information regarding Epstein's international child sex trafficking ring has already been released to the public. And I'm here today to ask that when you hear about more of the crimes getting committed against me and other victims, that you don't stop at feeling sorry or bad for us, but that you feel angry. Jeffrey Epstein was only a small part of an insidious system of privilege that exploits children as sexual commodities and robs them of their youth. It was clear from the time I spent with Epstein that something was very wrong with his lifestyle, and it didn't take a victim to see that. We were not hidden. It is upsetting to me to think that anyone who was closely associated with Jeffrey Epstein might argue that they didn't suspect that he might have been sexually abusing children. Epstein wielded great villainous power in his ability to make his victims feel shame of their backgrounds, to the point where we felt grateful of any attention or invitation into his inner billionaire playground, no matter the trauma it brought upon us. I left Zorro Ranch with a deep sense of shame, not just a shame of him having sexually abused me, but the shame of knowing that I had somehow been duped. It was the weight of Epstein's wealth, the isolation to which he subjected me, and his discussion of his social connections that crushed me into submission far more than his physical strength.
Okay. So that happened in 2019. And then things kind of went away because Epstein died in prison, allegedly or reportedly from suicide. Whether, again, I've said whether it was suicide or murder doesn't really matter. He was not watched and he was gone. And Donald Trump definitely thought that story was over, even though many people in MAGA and QAnon wanted to follow the story, they claimed wanting to get justice for victims, wanted to expose this child sex trafficking enterprise. You know, even though they had fanciful ideas about it, there was more than a grain of truth. There was a flippant island of truth. And it just kind of went away, except not really, because Ghislaine Maxwell was tried. She didn't testify in her own defense, but many victims came forward and testified against her. And now Donald Trump wants to set her free. Why? Now, I want to share with you one more victim. This is a woman who came forward yesterday. And I just want to make clear, though, she actually filed a police report in California against Jeff Epstein. She was in her 20s. She wasn't a child at the time. However, she said he sexually assaulted her, and she had escaped this hotel room and reported this. And she had spoken out previously, and she has, as she talks about, met with other victims. This really encourages me, and I think it may have been this press conference that freaked out J.D. Vance and Pam Bondi and Todd Blanche, because what's revealed here is just how many of these survivors are out there and how how justifiably angry they are. So let me share that with you. I think, okay, give me 1 second on this. Again, I want to just get this set up properly. Okay, let's get this set up properly. And I want to let you know that Gloria Allred had spoken first. And then this woman her name is Alicia. She is now obviously not a 20-year-old. She's in her early 50s, and she talks about her experience. Let's play that. You can move over.
Move over here.
Okay.
Okay. The first question that I have is, should the files be released? And I believe, yes, the files should be released. I'm tired of the government saying that they want to release them. So please just do it. And the next question is, should Miss Maxwell be pardoned? No, Ghislaine Maxwell should not be pardoned. She was convicted of sex trafficking of children. This is a terrible crime. Our next question is, did you ever meet Virginia Giuffre? Yes, briefly. Before Miss Maxwell was arrested, there was a meeting in New York with law enforcement, with either the FBI or Homeland Security, and with many other victims. And Virginia and I were there. And I said, "Hi, Virginia. Did you file a police report?" I did, in California. Virginia said, "No, I could not do that." I could not do that. I was around rich and powerful people. And at the same meeting with victims and their attorneys, the law enforcement agent at the podium asked the victims if they had any questions. Virginia asked why Maxwell was still walking around and free. And the agent responded that they were going to find her. And I'm very glad that Virginia, that she asked that question. I'm very glad. And another question is, do you want Miss Maxwell to testify? I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure if we can even believe her. But I mean, I would like to know what the U.S. Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, asked her, and what she actually said to him. And the last question, how do you feel? Sorry. It's a hard one for me. How do you feel about seeing Jeffrey Epstein in the news every single day and every night, all the time? And the story in the news almost every day and every night. It's very upsetting to me. And I cry with tears like I am now in my living room, watching this all the time when I see it on the news every day. Jeffrey's in my brain and I see him again and again, and I remember what he did to me in that hotel room. And I feel pain in my heart for myself and all for the other victims everywhere. And I see it every single day on the news.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Here are a few of my additional comments. Regarding the question of whether or not
Let's just listen to
Attorney
Gloria
General
for a
Todd
moment.
Blanche should release a transcript of the questions he asked of Ghislaine Maxwell and the answers that she gave in his 2-day interview of Ms. Maxwell. I believe that he should release the entire transcript of his more than 9-hour interview with her, including all of his questions and all of her answers. I'm aware that Ghislaine Maxwell, in addition to the other crimes for which she has been convicted, was also indicted on 2 counts of perjury. Ultimately, those charges were dismissed. However, the charges cannot be ignored, and other lies that she has told do have an impact on her credibility and are part of the reason that some victims and their lawyers think that she should never have been interviewed. They do not believe whatever her responses were to the questions asked by Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. In my opinion, if the transcripts were released, then everything that Ms. Maxwell said in the interview should only be released if they're accompanied by corroboration of her statements and or evidence of inconsistent statements by her and or proof that she lied about some of her statements.
Okay. So that's heartbreaking. Watching Alicia Arden try to even get started with her written statement. And I think the final thing she said, just seeing this on the news, victims, survivors deserve closure. And closure has to come with this story not being dragged out for political purposes. And that includes anybody trying to deflect or remove the names of people involved. Now, let me just address that. some of my good friends who worked in the Department of Justice, or people I see on television, I don't know if my friends have themselves said this, have suggested that it's not appropriate to release any files or grand jury transcripts or exhibits if only the names of the victims are redacted. They suggest that people whose names are there, even if they're being accused of wrongdoing, it's not fair to them. It's not fair to them. And it's not the role of the Department of Justice. Well, I completely disagree. Could not disagree more. We have Freedom of Information Act from the press requests for a reason, right? And this is in investigations that are closed, names should be released. So let me give you an example. The U.S. attorney in Miami, Acosta, who had brokered the non-prosecution agreement with Jeffrey Epstein and some of his collaborators so they would not be charged with federal crimes back in 2007, 2008, when he only served for the state crimes. And that was a very limited, he got to leave during the day so he could continue to rape young girls. Let's just be clear what that so-called work release program was. He wasn't working, he was raping on his release. They should have called it a rape release program. But anyway, Acosta is not on the list of people that are going to be interviewed by the House. He should be. And if all those people have really been immunized from federal prosecution, then there's no reason why they could be, then these cases are closed. Now, there are people who would say, someone who was there a lot on this airplane or traveled with him or made lewd comments to Epstein, their name should not be released because it could harm them. And I'm thinking, harm them? Exposed for activities that they participated in front of other men and women in public, exposed? They're lucky they weren't charged with crimes. I mean, I am astonished by the way our system decides to protect the most wealthy and powerful. People are so steeped in it, they don't get it. That doesn't happen if you are arrested. If you are someone who makes a lewd comment or grabs a woman's ass on the street and you're apprehended by the police, do you get that luxury? I don't think so. So I don't get it. And I think that that's not okay. And then, of course, Donald Trump is talking about, people's names who were, it's not fair to them. It's not fair to them when they weren't involved. Well, then if they weren't involved and it says that they went to lunch and had a grilled cheese sandwich at the automat with Epstein, who cares? Who cares? And let's let that out. What he's saying is that people are being credibly accused and sometimes maybe not. And they don't want the bad publicity. Well, you know what? Those young girls and young women didn't want to be raped or sexually assaulted or trafficked either. And if we don't have a justice system that can hold people accountable through the courts, then certainly the public should know about these and let people have their own press conferences. Let someone go have a press conference and say, I wasn't there or that didn't happen. It's really a tremendous cover-up. Now, I want to share with you Jamie Raskin talking about survivors. He's one of the few people who I believe speaks in a compassionate way, a few men in Congress who do, about this. Let me play that for you.
Maxwell was convicted of engaging in this child sex abuse and as part of this whole conspiracy and agreement with Epstein. And it is the victims now, the survivors, whose interests and whose desires have got to be put first. They want to see the truth and the whole truth about the entire conspiracy come out, and they've got to be heard. But what we have is the Trump Justice Department organizing itself not around the interests of the survivors, the people who were victimized by Maxwell and Epstein, but rather organizing itself around protecting the perpetrators, despite everything they said during the campaign. I mean, they didn't promise, Allie, to throw 17 million people off of their Medicaid health care. They didn't promise to dismantle funding for anti-human trafficking in the State Department, in the Department of Justice, and throughout the government. But they did.
Promised
but
this.
The one thing they did promise was to release this file.
Exactly. So, yeah, they're not organizing this investigation around the victims. They're organizing it around how do we give the public just enough so they'll get off my back and shut up. That is Donald Trump's goal, and it ain't going to work. Now, let's listen to yesterday, Trump being asked about the meeting that was apparently canceled. And I just want to say one thing before I play this. It's possible that, Donald was told generally that someone's going to figure out a strategy. It's also possible that J.D. Vance is playing both sides of the fence. I think J.D. Vance wants to have as much information as he can about Donald Trump so he can give it to his handlers, including Peter Thiel and his other Silicon Valley benefactors, and just be waiting in the wings. Just who knows? So let's listen to Donald Trump. He denies everything. The first thing he does, he says, I don't know about that. And then when he hears about it, he says it's a lie. This is his strategy. Let's play it.
News networks. And they
I'm
say
sorry, let me start this over.
Fake news networks. And they say costs are up. No, costs are down. Gasoline is down. It's going to soon, I believe, be less than $2 a gallon. It's around $2.40 right now.
Damn it. I played the gas clip. I'm sorry. I'm wondering what was going on there. Let me play this first and I'll get to the gas lying.
Vice President Vance hosting a gathering this evening to talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation.
Is he working on what?
Is he hosting some kind of gathering of top advisors this evening to talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation?
I don't know. I could ask you that question. I don't know of it, but I think...
Can I just say, who the hell laughs about that? I don't know. I could ask you. That's funny. Is that a nervous laugh from the press? Is it kind of acknowledging like you guys seem to know more than me? It's offensive.
Here's the man right here.
I saw a report today, and it's completely fake news. We're not meeting to talk about the Epstein situation, and I think the reporter who reported it needs to get better sources.
Okay. We're not meeting about the Epstein situation, but what about just meeting to talk about stuff? And that's also on the agenda. I don't believe J.D. Vance. Let's go.
The whole thing is a hoax. It's put out by the Democrats because we've had the most successful 6 months in the history of our country. And that's just a way of trying to divert.
Okay. When he says the whole thing is a hoax, he's referring to everything about these files that there might be people accused. And let me just say something. Even MAGA doesn't believe that. How is it that over 1,000 girls are subject to abuse and the only person responsible was Jeff Epstein? Because they're not even, he's trying to say Ghislaine Maxwell didn't assault girls, didn't rape them, didn't procure them. How is that possible? Oh, maybe also Jean-Luc Brunel, who also mysteriously died of hanging himself in prison in 2022. So only 2 men? Frankly, that's bullshit. Okay, now, let us now, before I depart this topic, share with you some very exciting news here, which is, this book we were talking about the other day, Andrew Lowney's book, which is coming out on Tuesday. It's called Entitled, The Rise and Fall of the House of York. And you see the cover there. There's Prince Andrew. He's not Prince Andrew anymore, but the Duke and Duchess of York, Sarah Ferguson on the right. Even though they divorced many decades ago, they have apparently remained good friends and actually still live together, which is curious. On the right, you see Andrew Lowney, who has been writing about the royal family for quite a while. And what I wanted to share with you is yours truly has landed an interview with Lowney. I'm going to be interviewing him this Saturday, and I'll be playing our interview on Monday for Monday's show, pretty close to our 1-year anniversary. And what I want to share with you is very exciting, which is this. Let me back out of this frame. Do you see this? This is the title page. I was given the PDF, and no, I can share it with you, entitled The Rise and Fall of the House of York. And you can see read only, not for distribution. Yes, my friends. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm furiously reading it. It is good. I'm learning so much just about the House of York, but there's specific things to talk about when it comes to Donald Trump's relationship with Epstein and Prince Andrew in the whole child sex trafficking ring. So for tomorrow's show, I'm going to share with you a quick preview of what I've learned from that book. And then on Monday, it's going to be the full interview. Very thrilled. What I have learned in this world is sometimes you just have to ask. Okay. So let us now pivot to some other nonsense from Donald Trump. So, as you may know, after much delay, a whole raft of tariffs went into effect at midnight this morning. Okay. And there's not much rhyme or reason to them, except obviously for Brazil, it's just meant to punish their government for minding their own business and prosecuting someone who attempted a coup, Jair Bolsonaro. Of course, many of the tariffs are being challenged in court. There's been a court hearing about this because, of course, the IEPA, the International Economic Emergencies Powers Act, does not specifically authorize this type of sanction, a tariff. Not only that, it's not an economic emergency. Remember, because Congress has the power to impose tariffs unless they have enacted a law delegating that authority to the president. It's not clear that he has authority to engage in these kinds of tariffs. The specific ones, when there is a product, is a little bit more complicated. He draws on a different authority. But at any rate, a vast majority of the tariffs, or a huge chunk of the ones that went into effect at midnight last night, are not lawful, but there they did. And he's going to be collecting the money. And apparently any goods or parts, like input that manufacturers might be used, so finished goods or parts or what have you, subject to these tariffs, apparently if they were loaded on the ships before yesterday or before this morning, they won't be subject to the tariffs. But now they will. And we are going to be feeling the impact probably in October. We're hearing. Now, I know you probably heard, we were supposed to be hearing the impact over the summer. We didn't, because he kept delaying. That was a taco. Trump always chickens out. That was a taco trade, right? He never stuck up with that. Okay, so that's one thing to say. The other thing to say is he continues to lie about gas prices. So I feel like I need to show you actual gas prices first and then see what he said. So this is a chart, and this is gas prices. The blue line represents average prices, and this is in US dollars, regular gas, how much it's been per gallon. And we have, if you can see across the bottom, is 2024 and 2025. So the first month they're showing, the first date is February 6, 2024. And the last date we're looking at is yesterday, August 6th. So gas prices in the final year of Biden's term started, it looks like a little over $3.12 a gallon. Got as high is almost $3.70. Where is gas now? It looks to be a little higher, on average, it's like $3. It looks like that in 15 cents. Okay, so, not so exciting for those of us who go to fill our own cars up. I think we know this. So let's listen to Donald Trump lying and no one calling him out about it.
News networks, and they say costs are up. No, costs are down. gasoline is down. It's going to soon, I believe, be less than $2 a gallon. It's around $2.40 right now. Many places, other than California,
Nowhere.
where they tax you out of business.
Nowhere. It's not $2.40
and a
anywhere.
couple of others, but
Not even at
gasoline
Costco.
is way down.
Okay, lies. And here's the deal. He's always lied about the numbers. Crowd size. He lies about how much he was worth. He lies about, and he got sued. He sued Tim O'Brien and lost that lawsuit. He's lying about the BLS numbers. He lied about the election. He doesn't like to be told that the con he is spinning is inaccurate. And the press, not only is the press bowing down to him, but folks, we have Tim Cook of Apple kissing Donald Trump's ass. Basically filleting him in the White House. And you cannot believe this. I've got to show you, if you have not seen this, Tim Cook presenting Donald Trump with some 24 karat gold object in the White House, because I guess it turns out that when you're a CEO of a company, you have no dignity. And if you think this is a way to get shareholder value for your shareholders, and you think you need to do that, you're really sick. I would resign my job before I did this. They're treating him like he is an emperor, like he is a king. Let's play this.
Yes, please.
This box was made in the U.S., California, and this glass comes off the Corning line. It's engraved for President Trump. It's a unique unit of one. It was designed by a U.S. Marine Corps corporal, a former one, that works at Apple now.
That's good. He's done well.
Designed it for you. And the base comes from Utah and is 24 karat gold. And it's
24 karat gold base. And they're going to put this little glass circle on it for him.
Well, there we go. Congratulations,
Thank you
Mr.
very much.
President.
It's
Thank you so
fantastic.
much.
Great people of Kentucky.
I don't even know what the hell that is. Apparently, I'm looking on my phone and it says Apple, this is from the Times, Apple CEO gives Trump a gift of glass and 24 karat gold. And at this meeting, Trump announced that Apple was going to invest an additional $100 billion in U.S. jobs and suppliers. Oh, I see. It's a plaque. It's some kind of plaque saying, I love you, Donald. You are the best sex I've ever had. I'm sorry, I'm being crass here, but what the hell, guys? What the actual hell is going on in this country? Now, we don't need to only look at cowards. We can also look at some heroes. And with this, I want to share with you an interview with Governor Jay Pritzker out of Illinois, because as we've spoken about, and I'm sure you already know, the members or Democratic members of the Texas legislature have left the state to deny the governor a quorum for a vote which would disenfranchise voters and take away 5 congressional seats from Democrats, just in Texas alone. So to deprive, and he is the governor of Texas, Governor Abbott, is doing this at the request of Donald Trump because he wants to make sure he doesn't lose the House in 2026, right? Okay. So what happened is they went to Illinois and the governor there said, I'm not going to, if someone tries to come in and take you away, we're not going to let them do that. Well, they've been put up in a hotel, and apparently someone on the internet identified the location and there was a bomb threat there. I want to share with you Pritzker right now.
Just to remind everyone, we are literally on the verge of losing our democracy. If Donald Trump is able to just steal 5 congressional districts in Texas, and by the way, they're going to Missouri and Indiana, to get those legislatures and those governors to comply as well, then, honestly, you can just cheat and take over government fairly easily, and all of us will be left to wonder what happened. So we've got to stand with these Texas legislators. So here's what's happening as of today. First of all, yes, it's true that John Cornyn, who is running for re-election to the United States Senate in Texas, called up the president to get the FBI involved. And then you've got Ken Paxton, the AG of Texas, who is fighting to beat John Cornyn. And he says that Texas can't actually engage the federal government in this. And he's right about that. But he wants to send the Texas Rangers to Illinois instead of the FBI. With, as you rightly point out, a civil warrant issued by the Texas House of Representatives Speaker. But, the fact is that neither Texas nor the FBI at the federal level have the ability to arrest these Texas Democrats who are breaking quorum. They just don't. There is no legal precedent for that. There's no law on the books that would allow them to do that. So as I've been saying, they're all allowed to visit Chicago or Illinois and take in the great view of our lake and our city,
Nice.
And enjoy the great restaurants that we have. But they won't be taking anybody home with them or away from the state. We are protecting those Texas House Democrats, and they are protecting, frankly, the entire country in what they do. Let me add one more thing, Ben. There was a threat against those Texas Democrats that are here in Illinois. It was a bomb threat at their hotel. There was a right-wing, fellow who does podcasts, and he showed up at the location that the Texas legislators are at and took video and then posted it online and posted a map of where in Illinois that hotel is. And then that was shortly after that there was a bomb threat that arrived at that hotel. So this is dangerous. It's difficult. We're protecting them. Our state police are there. Our local law enforcement are there. And in addition to that, there's private security that they've hired. So we're at a precarious moment, but I can assure you that we will not give up this fight. And most importantly, the heroes of the Texas Democratic Caucus are not giving up the fight.
Great. Love that. Now, a couple more things. It's not just at the congressional level that Donald Trump is trying to encourage utter chaos and kind of, the equivalent of an arms race in terms of gerrymandering, which is not good partisan gerrymandering, but Democrats have no choice but to fight back, as in California. I'm hoping that after all this is said and done, if we still actually have a democracy at some point, again, we can fix this. But right now, that's not where we are. Now,
just to remind everyone.
Sorry. I wanted to not do that. What I want to share with you now, as I said, a couple more things, is that Donald Trump isn't just interfering, as I said, at the congressional level, but also even at the state and local level, right? Obviously, this is a state change for congressional elections, but I'm specifically talking about New York City. We know Donald Trump has been going off about how much he detests Zohran Mamdani. The reason why he's afraid of him is because this is someone who says the same thing Donald Trump does, cares about lowering costs for people, but can actually do it. This is someone who appeals to what the public wants, a kind of populism, just like Donald Trump does, but he actually cares about people. Mamdani is a foil to Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a pretend populist. Donald Trump is a pretend price lowerer. Donald Trump is a pretend person. He is made of smoke and mirrors. He is lathered up in makeup. His hair is fluffed up. His image was created on reality TV. He lies, he invents. And Mamdani is who he is. And that is one of the biggest threats to Trumpism. It's victims speaking their truth. It's all of us saying, no, fuck you. The gas prices aren't what you say they are. Reality is the enemy of fascism. Reality is the enemy of totalitarianism. Reality and truth are the enemies of Trump. So let's share with you. I mean, let me just give you some context. Remember the other day when I showed you the numbers and I said, I can't believe any Democrat would be supporting Cuomo or supporting, I'm getting tongue tied, or supporting Eric Adams. Eric Adams, indicted, case dropped, related to, complete graft, political corruption. He's still the mayor of New York. He's running. Also running independently is Cuomo, Andrew Cuomo, who was a disaster at the federal level. And also, a terrible mayor who also covered up numbers. He made it look like he was doing a good job with COVID, but he wasn't. He is a credibly accused sexual abuser. Right, we talked about that. And I said the Democrats in New York who are supporting Cuomo, the extremely wealthy Democrats who are supporting Cuomo, are not our friends. That they're afraid of Mamdani because they just want a kind of system that just works for them. And they don't understand that Donald Trump is what happens when the system year after year after year favors the most wealthy and well-connected, lets them not get charged for their offenses, for their crimes. And also, I'm repeating, just read Big Dirty Money on that point. But here I want to share with you the fact that Donald Trump is in cahoots with Cuomo. Donald Trump supports Andrew Cuomo and is apparently had some private conversations with him. So just like I said, a vote for Cuomo is a vote for Trump. Now I really mean it. Let's play this.
I would be remiss if I did not directly address some of the news that we saw come out just a few hours ago, which is that the president of this country, Donald Trump, has been coordinating with Andrew Cuomo in direct conversation with the former governor. It is Trump billionaires who have been opposing our campaign's vision for a city that New Yorkers can afford. It is Donald Trump himself who has been directly conspiring with candidates who have decided to give up the people that they are supposed to protect in lieu of securing power through the assistance of that same administration in Washington, D.C. This should be a race about addressing the questions of who will make the city affordable, who will ensure that each and every New Yorker is safe, who will bring our city forward, not an audition for the best jester for Donald Trump and his billionaire supporters. Whatever Donald Trump seeks to do to influence the outcome of this election, I have more faith in New Yorkers themselves, who have shown, whether it be in the previous presidential election or whether it be through this primary race, that they do not want to support our current president's vision of a New York City that is ripping immigrants from their homes, that is detaining New Yorkers on the basis of political expression, that in fact what they want is someone who can stand up to an authoritarian administration and to the billionaires that gave us that administration.
I mean, keep talking, man. Keep talking. This is the future. Let's get behind it. Okay. Let's do one. Let's just jump right into Crazy Town. This is I got a double helping of Crazy Town for you guys. Let's do it. Okay, that was a lame dance. Let's start first with this. The craziest thing that is happening in this administration is under the jurisdiction of RFK Jr. He will cause the deaths of more people than anyone in this administration thus far, based on his policies. And the latest idiotic, crazy town thing that he has done is to cut funding to the Nobel Prize award winning, for science technology, the mRNA technology that gave us the COVID vaccines, which is helping create a shot to cure AIDS, which people are looking on it to cure cancer, to help cure people with the most difficult to treat things, conditions like ovarian cancer, and on and on and on. This is a development, a breakthrough, and you build on breakthroughs. So Donald Trump is asked about this, and his answer is so pathetic. It's not even directly anti-science. It's ignorant, it's dangerous, and it's as bad as injecting bleach. Let's play that.
The driving force behind Operation Warp Speed, these mRNA vaccines that are the gold standard. Now your health secretary is pulling back all the funding for research. He's saying that the risks outweigh the benefits, which puts him at odds with the entire medical community and with you. What is going on?
Research on what?
Into mRNA vaccines.
Well, we're going to look at that. We're talking about it. And
I can't decide if he just can't hear well, because he says research on what, like he couldn't even hear what she said. Okay.
They're doing a very good job. And, that is a pass. With Operation Warp Speed was, whether you're Republican or Democrat, considered one of the most incredible things ever done in this country. The efficiency, the way it was done, the distribution, everything about it has been amazing. But, that was now a long time ago, and we're on to other things.
That was a long time ago, and we're on to other things. Who the F is we? Not the scientific community. What are you on to? Bleach? What are you on to? Eating, like RFK Jr. eating roadkill? What's the plan?
Things, but we are speaking about it. We have meetings about it tomorrow at 12 o'clock, and we'll determine. We're looking for other answers to other.
Okay. What an utter moron. Now, oh shoot. I do have one more dose of Crazy Town, but let me have an interlude. I want to share with you Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary, on Morning Joe this morning, finally admitting who actually pays the tariffs, and the tariffs are taxes paid by businesses. Let's play that.
Been some confusion. So we've got a tariff of 50% on Brazil now, I think. And so if someone here, an importer, wants to buy Brazilian products today or tomorrow and import them, they're going to pay 50% to the Treasury. And so who writes that check?
Well, a couple of things. First, we could have substitutions, so there's very little
answer the question.
Comes from Brazil. It could come from Argentina, it could come from...
right, but assuming it does come from Brazil, say, or it comes from any country with a tariff, who writes the check to the Treasury?
Well...
They want it both ways. Donald Trump wants to say, I'm collecting billions of dollars, and Bessent is saying, well, maybe we won't import things from Brazil. Can't have it both ways. Okay, who writes the check?
The check is written to the person who receives it at the dock in the U.S.
Oh, my God. This is bullshit. The check is written to the person, to the customs person. So if I have a job in Customs and Border Patrol, and my job is at the dock, and I got a little clipboard or the equivalent of it, like an iPad, and I'm checking, what's in the boxes or what's in someone tells me this is what's on this shipment. This is what's, in this particular, on this pallet or on this, this cargo container. You're telling me it's going to say $2 million and the check is going to be written to me, Jennifer Taub? Come on, asshole. No one believes you. Get with it.
The check is written by the person
receives
it at the dock. So tariff is paid in this country.
Okay, I misheard him. Okay, not paid to, written by the person. So the check is written by. So this is where he's admitting it. It's written by, not written to. It's written by the person at the dock who is going to get that big cargo container loaded up onto a truck. So they write the check. But again, if I'm that person, if I work for a company, I myself is not writing it out of my bank account. I'm writing it a check, or I'm using a wire transfer from the corporation.
Is that right?
But the Brazilian exporter could decide that they want to keep market share. They could lower their price so that the full 50% of the tariff, say, and
right, they could eat part of the they could eat part of the tariff,
which is what we've seen.
Okay. But the check is written by the importer, right, at the dock.
Yeah, and then the importer can pass it on or not.
The importer can pass it on or not. Oh, I can just imagine. What a load of bullshit. Okay, because listen, if Tim Apple is willing to prostrate himself to Donald Trump, humiliate himself, and present him with a 24-karat gold base with some circular glass plaque saying you're the best person in the world or what have you, then why would, in order to get the government office back and help shareholders make money, then why in the world would companies generally not pass costs on to consumers? Because the only person who's going to eat it would be the CEO losing some of his salary or the shareholders. I don't see that happening. Okay, so yes, and we've seen prices go up. Now, second dose of Crazy Town. Here we go.
That a one-on-one meeting with an American president is a big deal. And Trump has said in the past few weeks he thinks that Putin was playing him. How can you be sure he's not playing you now?
Well, I don't think anyone really plays President Trump, but there's attempts sometimes to just tap up.
She doesn't think anyone plays President Trump. She's playing him right now. Every single person from Tim Apple to Covfefe, whoever that is playing. I shouldn't call him Tim Apple. I'm sorry. I did that name that Ben Collins used for him because of Donald Trump calling him Tim Apple. Everyone from Tim Cook to Covfefe, whoever that was, is playing Donald Trump. He will have no friends after he dies. Everyone will say they couldn't stand him. He was a tyrant. There will be very few Trump supporters. But until then, if he ever does leave this planet, we are living in Trump's world. We are living under the Trump dictatorship. And my friends, the best way out of that, what do they say, is through. Listen to the victims. Listen to the truth. I will see you tomorrow morning. Thanks, guys. And here's some truth for you.
Hello, prison mates. It's the Gen Taub Show. Well, how come everyone? Let's learn about what is happening in politics yesterday and today. There was hope, and we are together in this democracy we work for. And again, welcome to the Gen Taub Show. Hello, prison mates. It's the Gen Taub Show. Well, how come everyone? Let's learn about what is happening in politics yesterday and today. There was hope, and we are together in this democracy we work for. And again, welcome to the Gen Taub Show. Hello, prison mates. It's the Gen Taub Show, where welcome everyone. Let's learn about what is happening in politics yesterday and today. There was hope, and we are together in this democracy we work for. And again, welcome to the Gen Taub Show. Hello, prison mates. It's the Gen Taub Show, where welcome everyone. Let's learn about what is happening in politics yesterday and today. There is hope, and we are together in this democracy we work for. And again, welcome to the Gen Taub Show. Hello, prison mates. It's the Gen Taub Show, where welcome everyone. Let's learn about what is happening in politics yesterday and today. There is hope, and we are together in this democracy we work for. And again, welcome to the Gen Taub Show.